Medicaid posters. And nobody had touched it until Congressman Paul Ryan leaped onto the tracks a few weeks ago.
Now we're going to kill babies and autistic kids.
His action would attract all the heat and thunderbolts.
We're going to kill it. We could do it right now.
I just think it's hilarious.
I thought that's what that Planned Parenthood people did.
So Ryan jumped onto the tracks, touched the third rail, and on Wednesday,
I think it's interesting, though.
he flipped the switch and turned on the juice. It would be spread over 12 years.
I really should have, like, Prince's Syrian articles.
Until 2016.
Now the white minority. The Hispanics are the majority.
Does anybody remember the President's National Commission on Fiscal Responsibility? It's not going to be politically possible to do this without blocking Congress and the Capitol building and telling them they can't come until they reach a deal. Right now, it's politically smart for a liberal politician to say that he won't agree to any spending cuts. And it's easy for a conservative to say that he won't agree to this. And they can stand up and say that they won't even agree to the idea of a balanced budget. That's why 65% of American voters favor a balanced budget amendment that force Congress to except war or recession. Will reassure all our foreign allies that we're going to balance our budgets a couple of years from now. And then we can start the battle over how the budget will be balanced.
USA! 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 USA!
There are people who don't balanced budgets. Because they fear it will mean cuts in entitlement spending or higher taxes. The other objection I hear is that it can't pass because amendments to the Constitution require approval by 2/3 of each House of Congress and then ratification by 3/4 of the state legislatures. But it happens that in 1997, a balanced budget amendment passed the House with a 2/3 majority. It can't be one vote passed with a 2/3 majority in the Senate. It can be done. And if you think it would be hard to get it through 75% of the state legislatures, you need to know that 49 of our state legislatures must produce a balanced budget each year. If they have to do it, I'm sure they're not going to be terribly sympathetic to the idea that federal legislators shouldn't have to do likewise. Now, if we had passed and ratified that constitutional amendment in 1997, our nation's debt load would now be at least $5 trillion smaller, even if you assume that Congress would have voted with a supermajority to run deficits in 2009 and 2010 and in some of the war years. The last thing you need to know is that there are 4 proposals for a balanced budget amendment in the Senate right now. And if one of them passes the Senate, you can be sure that it will pass the House.
Can we check papers, please?
Resolution 10. Balanced budget amendment. Federal tax. 60 just
Why
6
don't
more
you go
senators.
away?
Lift
This
you
is
up
our
your
party,
security.
right?
Make them
You want a party, get a
and I will
party.
guarantee you that the Senate passes on these bills, the House will pass it too.
I have a
This could be the most important thing that you do. The second is John Myers for advanced budget amendment. You can sign up right now, which is what you're doing over there.
John, real quick, I got a question for you, John. Back in 1997, we almost had a balanced budget amendment, right?
Yes.
We were one U.S. senator short, right?
One senator short.
How did Senator Ted Kennedy vote on that?
Oh, I don't know. Probably again.
He voted no. But something has happened in Massachusetts since then, isn't that right? Scott Brown, let's hear it, John. Thank you so much. That's right. Your votes make the difference. Your votes stop the first pass of Obamacare, at least, and your votes can make a difference on a balanced budget amendment. You did it. You elected Scott Brown, and you can do it again. Absolutely. Your votes matter. Speaking of which, today, in the House of Representatives, they passed Paul Ryan's $6.6 trillion debt-cutting, save Medicare, save the future budget. Meanwhile, President Obama gave us a budget that would raise the debt to $20 trillion. No, it's okay. It's okay. Joe Biden says he knows a guy and get it for $19.99. So, there you go. Now please welcome from the Fair Tax Organization, Barry Hinkley. Barry, come on up. Let's talk about the fair tax. Fair. You know, like what we don't have right now.
Tea Party no! Healthcare yes! Tea Party no!
Are you done yet?
Yes!
Could you please have some manners?
I don't know what that is.
I was raised a little better than that. I'll tell you, not from the fair tax, actually running for U.S. Senate from Rhode Island against the most liberal senator in the Senate, Sheldon Whitehouse. And I am an advocate of the fair tax because it's good for families and good for business. So I want to say here today, hello, extremists. I said hello, extremists. How dare you want to balance the budget? Don't you know that balancing the budget is mean-spirited and will cause 70,000 deaths around the world from malaria and will greatly limit the ability of self-dealing senators like Sheldon Whitehouse and John Kerry to buy votes with our children's future. When I spoke at this rally 2 years ago, I honestly didn't think it could get much worse. We were worried about jobs and bailouts, but no one was uttering the words trillion-dollar annual deficits for as far as the eye could see. Those people here assembled like you today on the Boston Common on that chilly day in 2009, many of who I see here again, were to attack Americans, calling them extremists for simply supporting words of our Declaration of Independence, which clearly states governments are instituted among men to rally their just powers from the consent of the governed. Whenever any form of government becomes constructed to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute a new government. I say to you, fellow patriots, it's not only your right to alter our government, but it's our duty. I know that's why you're here, and that's why I'm here. As we scan the landscape of this once great nation, we look high and low for any sign of good news. But unfortunately, everything the entrenched career politicians have touched has turned to rocks. As you know, there are many topics I could point towards which would clearly attitude. Today, in the spirit of this most feared day on America's calendar, April 15th, and billions of hours and hundreds of billions of dollars spent each year complying, I will focus on our corrupt and broken tax code. We live in a world with a fact acknowledge this and in turn blind eye. Instead, they hire more IRS agents, and yes, I use the word agents, government agents, to wage war on the honest industrialists, extracting more and more capital to feed their growing machine. The failures of our tax code are obvious and in plain sight. So why don't our leaders do anything about it? Two words: power and control. Power over you and control over your money. Our politicians have realized that with our tax code they can control our behavior, picking winners and losers, and trust me, there's nothing more satisfying to a king than controlling his subjects. With control over your wallet and behavior, they can keep your nose to the grindstone while buying large votes of people, large blocks of people, from large blocks of votes from people who can't spell grindstone. They hold weekly sales of giant loopholes for large corporations, and in turn, their coffers are filled and they remain in power. That's both parties. The tax code is the primary means of funding our government, and today it punishes behavior like hard work, honesty, investment, and savings. President Obama has stated many times in his obviously rhetorical speeches that all ideas are on the table, and that we need 21st century solutions for 21st century problems. In that vein, Mr. Obama, I take you at your word. We need a 21st century tax code for a 21st century economy. Last week, Paul Ryan outlined some first steps in majorly reforming our antiquated and broken tax code. I think it was a brave first step. In my opinion, the days of tinkering around the edges of a broken tax code are over, and we need a fresh start for a fresh century. The fair tax represents a fresh start. It is the most studied and supportive alternative to funding this great nation. It rewards savings, investment, education, job creation, and hard work. These are the principles of the American dream. Doesn't it make sense that we have a means to fund our government which exactly aligns with the values that America was built upon? Yes! The fair tax addresses the cash economy and forces illegal aliens to at least contribute to our coffers while we figure out a productive solution. The fair tax is estimated to collect more money than our present tax code, caused the largest economic boom in America since post-World War II, and will hang a large sign on the doors of America, loudly declaring that we are open for business. The fair tax eliminates individual annual filing in all personal and corporate taxes, including the death tax, replacing it with a simple consumption tax. No one in America pays anything up to and below the poverty line. You work a week, you get paid 100% of your wages. The government takes out nothing, and you union guys should like that. The government, when you consume, you pay. For businesses, America becomes the most attractive place in the world to operate, thus luring capital and investment to our shores. With businesses comes jobs, and more jobs. dismantle our corrupt and destructive tax code. Leaders who understand that the best social program is a good-paying private sector job. And that only through real tax reform will we again be on a path to prosperity through a growing private sector. I urge you all to explore the fair tax and understand why world-renowned economists here in Massachusetts, like Dr. Larry Kotlikoff from BU and David Turek from Suffolk, have studied and support the fair tax. Seek out leaders like me who support bills that have been filed in the U.S. Senate and the House to repeal our tax code and enact the fair tax. You can learn more about the fair tax at fairtax.com and me at forhinkleyforsenate.com. Thank you very much.
So you like that idea of not paying any taxes on the money when you get it? Well, you should be with these guys. When they get their state pensions, they pay no state income tax on them. And now they're impeaching because they want more of your money. Oh, boo! That's a shame. But you get to go home with your private sector pension. Oh, wait, you don't get one. No wonder they're here disrupting our event. No wonder they're here whining and complaining. It must be so hard having a job where you're required to show up 75% of the time. That's why the government workers have so much respect here today. Now please welcome my good friend and fellow broadcaster from AM 1200, the also lovely and talented Jeff Katz. Jeff!
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everybody. I make two promises to you. I'm not running for anything, and I have no notes. I am thrilled that we are all here this afternoon. And by the way, let me be the first one to say this, perhaps the only one to say this. Welcome to my union brothers and sisters. Despite the rhetoric that we're hearing from an awful lot of very inconsiderate, impolite people, I grew up in a union household. My dad helped to organize a local. I was an official with the union when I was a police officer. I stand with working people. I am a working person. But here's the deal. A lot of us grew the hell up. I am going to tell you the facts of life, whether you want to hear them or not. Welcome to the real world, gang. In the real world, we open up our checkbooks once a month, twice a month, and see if there's enough money to pay the bills. It is as simple as that. It takes a measure of maturity. It takes a measure of responsibility to say it would be wonderful to go on vacation today, but we can't afford it. It would be great to go out and buy a new car, but we can't afford it. So here's what you do. You can cry and whine and moan if that's what you want to do. That's what they do. You can stand out here and talk about how the rest of us should take our hands off of our money, not yours.
Our money.
Or you and I can stand together with some wonderful, wonderful people. Last year, I told a story about how this was not about us. Understand that. These guys need to understand that. This movement is not about me. It's not about Michael. It's not about any of us. It is about our children. It is about our grandchildren. And you know what we don't understand is how come you hate our kids so much. Last Last year on the Common, we talked about being stewards and custodians. This country is not mine and it's not yours. It is an unbelievable experiment that has been passed on to us, and we are entrusted with it. We are asked to take care of it. We are not asked to fundamentally transform it into some bizarre sort of alternate universe. We love this country. Here's what you find at this Tea Party and every other Tea Party. You won't find a single person who hates someone else. You will find people who love God, love our children, and love this country. Absolutely. Listen, I've only got a couple of moments, and I thank you, first of all, for taking time out of your day. I will remind our friends who are here from the unions, please check in with your union steward so he can check you off the clipboard so you get paid. And while you're picking up a check with our money, if you don't mind, there are a bunch of us that could use a cup of tea. We would really, really. You stand tall, you remain strong, you remember what this is really all about. Again, one piece of advice, it's not about me or you, it is about our children, it is about our grandchildren, and by God, we will make sure we deliver to them the best possible country we can. Thank you so much for your hospitality.
Special elections going on in Massachusetts coming up, so please, if you're out in the western part of the state, they need your help out there. Also, 10th Middlesex special election involves Waltham, Watertown, and Newton. Captain Jim Dixon running. There are elections that matter. You can make a difference in those elections locally, whether you live there or not. You can still help and make your voice heard. And now please welcome, speaking of elections, have you heard about that billboard that's out in Sudbury, right? No. Southborough, thank you, I'm sorry. All the yeses, I don't know. They have a billboard up suggesting, it's a crazy idea, suggesting that people show their ID when they vote. I know it's crazy. Isn't it embarrassing that they have better ballot security in Iraq than we have in Massachusetts? Well, someone's trying to do something about it. They're called Show ID to Vote. Tom Weaver, get up here. Talk about what you guys are doing.
Subject. I was supposed to follow a financial guide, so it would have been a little bit more fun. Instead, I followed Jeff Katz. I don't know. Anyway, as everybody knows, when I go to vote, you know me as Deval Patrick.
Oh, really? You vote often.
Oh, yeah, you vote early vote, but I am Deval Patrick. I can prove it. Right here, I have a utility bill for National Grid. You can see the name on it is Kristen Barley. Ralph, you gave me the wrong bill. And after I go and I vote, like all good Americans, I like to go by the local pub, and that's when I reach in my pocket and I pull out my ID. Government issued ID from Massachusetts. It says Tom Weaver. See how easy that is? Thank you so much. All right. time to learn what the programs are, who's running, who's involved, what's at stake. You're an informed voter. You deserve to vote. And you need to get involved. You need to talk to your neighbors. You need to talk to your friends. You need to have a good time spreading the word about freedom. And when you talk to people, it's really important that you remember one little key thing. Is you're teaching civics. One of the big things of civics is that our word is called respect. We can all live together. We can talk together. We can work together if we respect. We can even come together. If you look at what happened a long time ago with the Constitution, you had two groups of people. They never backed down. You had those that wanted state sovereignty and you had those that wanted a federal government. They respected each other and they came to a nice compromise. It's called our Constitution and it's kept us going for hundreds of years. And part of that Constitution is the fact that the states themselves determine who votes and how they vote. It's a privilege to vote. It's a privilege to be an American citizen and to be able to get informed and to go out to the polls and vote for the person of your choice. It might not be my choice, but I respect your decision.
That's right.
That's what makes us great. All right. What can you do? We have special elections coming up.
And that was a kind word.
We want to put poll observers and poll workers into the Jim Dixon election. We also want to go and help out Peter Durant. It's all about being energized and being part of the process. It's not about keeping people from voting. It's about organizing and making sure that people that people have the right to go out and vote. The right ones. They are citizens. They have filled out their census. Anyway, when I look out, I see the Boston Common. When I look out, I see Boston itself, where the Tea Party started. Everybody looks around and they have a different vision. The whole show ID to vote is about getting involved, but more importantly, it's about creating the largest civics class in the world. And you all are the teachers. That's what you have to do. You have to teach. You have to teach our civics and what makes us great, and that is fair voting. Anyway, I'm Tom Weaver. Go to Facebook.com, show ID to vote, and I look forward to seeing you showing your ID at the next election. I forgot the punchline. Hold on.
So give it to us.
Is that okay, Tom?
That's fine. Remember, it's so easy.
Change your spot.
Hold on, this is heavy. Even a caveman can show ID.
Let's get it for Tom Weaver, yeah! Hey, Justin, come up here. Justin's the guy in the crowd. I know our friends won't put the sign down so people can see you in church. Anyway, Justin, can you sit up here? Is that what your name?
My name is Justin Braga.
Where do you live?
I live in New Bedford, Massachusetts.
What's your social security? No, I'm kidding. Okay. Are you familiar with what a dictionary is?
Yes.
Are you familiar with what a Baracktionary is?
What? That's through Barack?
Okay, here's what we do. I'm going to give you some actual words and phrases used by our president, Barack Obama. You tell me if you can translate what they mean into English. Are you ready?
Sure.
Now, we've never met before, right?
No.
Okay, will you give me $20? No, never. Okay. First, if I told you I saw a man-caused disaster, no help, no help, what would I have seen?
You don't know. We don't know what this president is talking about anymore. We need to bring our country back to the values that our country.
I like this guy, but you're not playing the game here. No speeches, pal. Hey, you're not on the union clock, okay? You're not getting paid, all right? A man-caused disaster is... Help him out. Terrorism. Terrorism. I always called it terrorism. No, now it's a man-caused disaster. If I told you that I was engaged in kinetic military action, what would I be doing?
They're waging war in Libya.
Waging war in Libya. Very good. Here's a tough one. If I told you that I was going to have, this is a tough one, spending cuts in the tax code, spending cuts in the tax code, what would I be doing to you, Justin?
Well, if you're Barack Obama, you're spending more, apparently.
So close. What am I doing? Raising taxes. That's right. President Obama says that spending cuts in the tax code is a tax hike. In other words, when you keep your own money, he says you're costing him money. A tax hike is a spending cut when you're Barack Obama. Justin, good try. Thank you so much. We have a lovely party here. Sorry. But there you go. Here for Justin. Come on. I just met Justin a few minutes ago.
What about the 57 states?
Can't figure it out.
What about the
I'm sorry.
57 states?
I want you to know, this gentleman's yelling at me that spending cuts in the tax code mean a tax hike in all of President Obama's 57 states. You're absolutely right.
57 states.
Now it's time to talk someone smart, i.e. not me. I love the work the Pioneer Institute does. They're fighting all the time for real information about taxes and spending in Massachusetts. You need to check them out. They're a great group. Jim Sturgis is right here. Good to see you, Jim. Good to see you. Thanks, Michael.
Guys, especially in the front, I was walking around looking at some of the signs. There's signs against privatizing education, which I think is about charter schools. Charter schools are delivering great education to inner city kids. If that's what you're against, I'm sorry. And Jeff Katz said it right. It's about our kids and our kids' kids. It's great to see all of you Tea Partiers out here this afternoon. Thank you for coming out. And I think they're playing a trick. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but texting got moved to Monday. I think they're trying to screw around with us. I run Pioneer Institute. It is a research think tank. We're advocates for things that work. We work on only 4 things: fixing our schools, a government that's accountable to you and also effective, a government that is not in the face of business so business can actually do the job that it's so good at, and that's creating jobs. And finally, it's dealing with our healthcare mess. Those are the 4 things that we do, and we've had a pretty good record of success in Massachusetts, and what I'm here to say is you can bring change to Massachusetts. Don't let them tell you that this is just a state that's going to stay the way that it is. We can do things here, whether Democrats or Republicans. I think Tea Partiers have to cross all aisles and change.
Good work.